I'm Lee Troxell, and I'm the digital design teacher for the Advanced Technology Center. I want to welcome you to the class and to the whole experience. And I have to tell you, masks notwithstanding, I am super excited about this year because we've got so much stuff coming up, so much new technology, new techniques, some really, really cool projects, and some really cool guest speakers that are going to be coming in and talking to us both in person and via Zoom from all over the country. So, and actually, hopefully all over the world. So I'm really, really excited. We've got a lot of stuff planned. But what I wanted to just kind of cover are some general things. One thing that I did want to share with you real quick is if you haven't, hopefully everybody has visited the YouTube channel with our ATC YouTube channel and watched the general ATC orientation. That will answer a lot of your questions as far as dress code and you know, class times and things like that. So with that information being out there, I don't want to really spend a lot of time on that here. So the first thing that I do want to talk about, just to kind of give everybody a little bit of peace of mind, if you haven't seen the classroom or haven't been to the ATC, our particular lab, the digital design lab, is pretty well spaced as far as like students. So, you know, they want you to have like 6 feet of distance or a minimum of 3 feet of distance. We have that no problem in our lab. So you don't have to worry about anything like that in there. The other thing that I wanted to mention is equipment wise, because a lot of people always ask, you know, do you need this equipment at home? Generally speaking, we're in the room for 2.5 hours a day, pretty much every day. And I structure my lessons and your projects around you doing the work, or at least the computer work that's necessary in the classroom. So it is fantastic if you do have access to a really nice, you know, powerful computer at home that can run the Adobe suite of programs. If you don't have to worry about it. You do not have to run out and buy a computer for this class. You will, however, have free access to the entire Adobe Creative Suite once you're in class. So you'll be able to, because you'll be logging in to your particular machine at the ATC, but you will also have an additional license that you can place on another computer. So if you do have a computer at home or a laptop or something like that, you will be able to use the entire Adobe Creative Suite for free for 2 years or as long as you're in the class. So that's really, really great. As far as other equipment, we'll be doing things like video production, photography. We have cameras, we have all that sort of stuff. Obviously, it would help if you had, you know, your own equipment that you wanted to utilize. We also have a full set of iPad Pros and pencils and everything. So we have Wacom digitizing tablets for people to draw into and scanners and everything. So the bottom line is, as far as creativity and as far as the electronic devices you're going to need, I'll supply all that for you. Now, while we're talking about that, there's always the question of what kind of supplies. I don't have a supply list for you because the only thing I really need you to have for the classroom, the only piece of equipment that you're going to have to buy is a 3-ring binder. Okay, so you're going to need some kind of notebook that you can use specifically for my class. I will be doing notebook checks. You know, we will have tests and quizzes, and I generally speaking will give you like a certain amount of time to have like an open notebook part for the test, not the whole time, but like if there are a few things that you were missing. So it is definitely to your advantage or to your benefit to have a notebook. The only other piece of equipment that you might need, so you don't have to buy drawing paper, you don't have to buy pencils, you don't have to buy any of that stuff. I will supply you everything you need. The only other thing that you probably will want to have is some kind of removable storage media, a jump drive, you know, removable hard drive, something like that, that you'll want to store your work on. I am encouraging everybody to store your work in the cloud, for example, with your student, you know, Gmail account, you know, and all that kind of access. But you may want to back it up and you may want to have a jump drive. You don't have to worry about it doesn't have to be the most expensive one, doesn't have to be the most powerful one, just something to hold your stuff. We will store files on our computers. And of course, with the Adobe Creative Cloud, you'll be able to store your files. So as far as equipment, that's it. Now, one of the other questions that you might have would be, especially because we're in this whole mask wearing, social distancing thing, as far as like break time, because we're there again for 2.5 hours a day, every day. So you will have to, I'll give you a break at like, for you guys, it should be probably like 8:45 to like 9 o'clock or something like that. But because of social distancing requirements, it's not like it's going to be like a free for all and you get to run around. Basically, that's the time that people will check their phones or do that kind of stuff. And honestly, I know that it's really hard, I know, to put the devices down and everything, but I really do not like people being on their cell phones in class. Now, as far as like the class expectations, I mentioned that I do want you to have a 3-ring binder. There will be handouts. You will be taking notes. I do a lot of stuff on the board or in a demo, like through the projector and all that kind of stuff. So you will be taking notes and things like that. The biggest thing about this class, and that's why I'm really glad to see some parents in here, the single biggest thing that will affect your grade in this class and can make you pass or fail is meeting deadlines. Okay. This is not an art class. It does help if you are creative. It does help if you can draw, if you can, take photographs and do all that stuff, but it's not an art class. We are designing things for clients. We're designing things for business. Like, I love money, right? I want to make money and I want you guys to make money. And we're doing commercial art. We're doing commercial graphics. And so, for example, if you're doing an ad for a client and it's a going out of business sale, for example, and that going out of business sale is on Friday, and you miss the deadline to get the ad out in the newspaper and they don't get the ad out until Saturday and the store closed on Friday, that's not good, right? So everything that we do in class is based upon and predicated upon deadlines. So what I would suggest is that you follow your deadlines, because generally speaking, with most of the projects, we have 2 deadlines. We have the first deadline, which will be like your first version of it. Okay. And that's the version that we will critique as a class, and we'll go back and we'll say, oh, you should change this, or maybe this isn't right, or, oh, you got some misspellings here or whatever. Then you go back and then you refine it and do a revision, and then you submit your final. So, the first deadline, you've got some wiggle room as to whether or not it's like perfect, right? But that final deadline is absolute. It has to be in on time. So if you see bad grades, that's, if parents, if you see a report card and the grades are not good, that's generally it. Well, let's talk for a second about myself. So I've been teaching the digital design class here at the ATC for about 20 years, almost 21 years. I'm the United States expert in advertising design for Skills USA, which is a student organization of over 350,000 members. I've been in the advertising industry for a long, long time. I have a list of clients all over the country, and even I've got some international clients. Just as an example, I do illustrations, I do advertising, I do websites, I do video production, I do photography. One of my projects that I was working on this summer is I worked on the website for St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, right? Somebody here in Virginia Beach is doing the website for St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. And I've got clients all over the place. And my point in telling you that is that I know the industry and I know it, and I work really hard to stay up to date. But my goal as a teacher is not to turn out 20 students a year that will design exactly the way I do. I realize that everybody has their own voice and their own creativity and their own vision. My job is to make sure that you funnel your creativity and funnel your that vision of yours into a direction which meets the client's goals or meets the client's requirements and will get you paid, right? And will let you build a career. So, and I told you that, so I can tell you this. When I grade your work will be based projects, not tests where it's just information, right? When I grade your creative work, it's going to be based on two things. One, the strength of your idea, the creative strength of your idea. And two, whether or not it's appropriate for the client, whether or not it meets the requirements. I love to draw superheroes. Like, that's my thing. I've always, ever since I was a kid, I can remember being in kindergarten drawing like a big Batmobile on the chalkboard, when I was a kid. I love superheroes. I can't use superheroes in all of my work, in all of my advertising. Like St. Patrick's Cathedral did not want a Spider-Man swinging in front of the cathedral or whatever, right? Which I could have given them, would have looked awesome, but I can't do that. So I have to, for our clients, we have to adjust, what we do and what we provide. So there's a couple of other things I want to show you real quick. If you want to get an idea of some of the lessons that we do, and actually everybody you need to do this, but I'm going to show you. I do have, last year, I started a YouTube channel with our lessons on there. So, and let's see. So please, if you get a chance, go find me on YouTube. I only have 76 subscribers, so I don't have a custom name for my channel yet. So click to subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. But if you could subscribe to this channel, because oftentimes I put, I will always put our lessons up here. And so that way, for example, if you look, when we're doing using the bone tool in Adobe Animate, you'll be able to come back here and I'll do the demo in class, and then you'll be able to immediately go to YouTube and you'll be able to immediately like follow the demo over again. So it works out pretty well. So, and there's a lot of cool projects, and you'll get an idea of some of the stuff that we do. Now, obviously, this particular, like the YouTube channel right now, isn't set up for, I mean, it's open there, but it's not for public consumption, because like this project, people in the general public, they're not going to have the PSD that I give you to generate this project, right? But you can still take a look at this and you can see, what we've been doing and what's going on. Obviously, I'll be putting new lessons up, but I highly, highly recommend, please find me on there, Lee Troxell, and subscribe, because I'll be referencing this all the time. And plus you'll get the notifications, when new things come out. So there is that. And I think, and this is kind of really important. I want to talk about the class in general. So as I told you, we're working on, meeting client needs and client expectations. And one of the things that we have to do as designers, as advertising designers, as graphic designers, is we have to know what makes people tick. We have to know why people think the way they do. We have to understand how consumers react. So again, this is not just in our class. I mean, we're going to be studying marketing principles. We're going to be creating advertising campaigns. We're going to be doing all kinds of things like that and studying demographics and consumer behavior. So in this class, and this is basically it's a college level class, you can get college level credit for this class. And so we will cover from time to time topical subjects. We may be talking about what's going on in politics. We may be talking about what's going on in the industry. We may be talking about electric car sales. We may be talking about who buys RVs, who's doing the van life. And obviously we're going to be talking about social media, things like Instagram or the TikTok or, things like that. So, the reason why I tell you that is because, and I want to make this clear to everybody who's watching, and I tell this to my students all the time, if we're talking about a subject that is like a touchy or political subject or whatever, I don't care. No, okay, let me not say I don't care. You have the right to believe whatever you believe. As your teacher, I will never be one of those people that tries to push your opinion in one way or another. So I will only talk about facts. You will never know who I voted for president. You will never know which way I lean politically, because none of that matters. All we're talking about is how people think and why people do what they do. So I just want you to be, I cannot make that clear enough, because it is important. All of these things, the way people react to social media, the way people react to the news, the way people react to some celebrity, or like, here's an example, right? So here's something we might cover in class, like Tiger Woods, if you guys remember who that was. He was like a golfer, right? And he got in trouble, like I guess he was cheating on his wife, and she went after him with a golf club and like beat him in the head and smashed in his car window and all that stuff. Why is that important in our class? Because Nike paid Tiger Woods millions and millions of dollars to be a spokesperson. So when Tiger Woods does that and his wife hits him with a golf club, it doesn't just affect Tiger Woods and his wife. It affects Nike stock prices. It affects the way the public looks at Nike products. It affects the retailers, all of that stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if Tiger and his wife worked it out. I hope they did. But the point is, Nike's got to keep making money, right? So they dropped him like a hot potato and nobody's ever heard from him again, right? Now he's playing golf still. But anyways, those are the kind of things. I mean, because one day you might be working in the Nike marketing department, right? You might be the person that's saying, hey, you know, this athlete is coming up, this young person is coming up, and I think they've got a good vibe and a good feel, and we need to, let's pay them $11 billion a year to wear our hats, you know? So it's all in there. So that's, I just want to make sure that you guys know that it is not my place. I'm not one of these crazy activist teachers, which I don't know if they exist. I don't see them, but I'm not one of these people. We're going to talk, if it's related to marketing, if it's related to consumer behavior, if it's related to money and people spending it, then we're going to talk about it because it is important. Like right now, one of our first projects that I'm dealing with is the TSA is having a new public service announcement campaign talking about passengers being unruly on the airplanes. They have to come up with an ad campaign to say, hey, don't be mean to the stewardess or the flight attendants on the airplane. You know, it's a crazy topsy-turvy world we live in. So anyways, that's pretty much that. So one last thing regarding work, parents and students alike, I don't give a lot of homework, okay? We have a textbook, we have materials. I don't often ask you to go home and read chapter 12, right? That's not how this class works. But the homework that I do give will be like, hey, I need you to go home tonight and do 20 thumbnails, try to redesign the Coke logo or something, right? So again, the homework will not necessitate you needing super duper expensive equipment. It's just, most of the homework is going to be conceptual, you know, like brainstorming or doing thumbnails. And everybody pretty much knows what thumbnails are, but if you don't, we'll talk about it. So, but that pretty much covers it. I don't know right now, normally in our senior year, we take a trip to like New York City, we visit ad agencies and everything. We start fundraising for that early on. I hope the world goes back to normal and I hope we get to do those things, but I don't know. We would also, in the past, we've done things like gone to talk to the marketing people at like Busch Gardens, right? And then while we're there, we'll do Hollow Scream or something like that. But I don't know if we'll be able to do that this year. So I will do my best to try to have activities and things like that for the class to participate in. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. I will be posting a message to everybody with this, you know, of like what's coming up. Just keep an eye. I know you don't have access to Schoology yet, but if you have any, you should, I guess, next week. But if you have any questions, just please, you know, don't hesitate to shoot me an email. But enjoy the rest of your summer. So I will see you on September 9th. Thank you.